I am refusing to buy a hobonichi. Every year, as the new year comes around, I am always so tempted by the various versions and beautiful aesthetic options when it comes to the hobonichi brand of planners. In fact, in the past, I have partaken in getting a hobonichi, and I didn't like it that much. But somehow, every year, I manage to forget that because I get caught up in the, ooh, maybe this year I can make it work sort of thing. Hobonichis are also really expensive though. If it was like a $10 book, yeah, I could kind of justify giving it a go again. But I'm not gonna spend $30 plus however much on whatever accessories I decide that I need for this book. No, I know myself too well. And so instead, I would like to introduce all of you to At a Glance. This is my planner of choice for this year, and let me sell you on why this was the right choice for me to make. This is a book that you would probably typically find in like a hair salon, where it's broken down not only by month, but also by week and by 15-minute time increments. Now, for a lot of people, that's not going to be super helpful. However, for me, it's great because I like to do time blocking. In this planner, how I plan my day is I go through with highlighters and I highlight in different colors to represent different things that I'm working on. And that way, it gives me a really good grasp of what I'm doing that day and how much do I have time for. Because sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, and I have to actually look at the amount of time that I have and go, oh, I can't fit an extra project in if I have no time. I really like doing time blocking, and I really like this setup for that. Another thing I love about this planner that the hobonichi can't relate to is this paper doesn't bleed through. You can't really see what you wrote on the other side of the page, which was one of my biggest issues with my last hobonichi. I like using highlighters, I like using vivid colored pens and such, and you could just see through it on the other side. And that would be just really annoying for me. Like, it's a small thing, but if it makes me want to not use the planner, then I won't use the planner. I have to work with my brain, not against it. This planner is great for that, because I can make my really colorful, color-blocked days and know that the next week I'm not gonna have to be confused about what I'm writing because there's already colors and marker and things that I can see. And another thing is I purposefully chose a big planner. I know some people like small planners because they bring them places. The only place this is really gonna ever go is home and work. And I already wear a backpack to work because I have to carry a bunch of stuff anyways. I don't care if it's big. It being big gives me more room to use. I really hate restricting myself to trying to write really small. I'm not a small handwriting person. That is why I have my $12 At a Glance planner. I think this is also made with recycled paper. A sleigh. But the thing is, I will fully admit and acknowledge this is kind of ugly. It's not very cute, and the material on it makes me feel like stickers aren't going to stick very well to it. So I decided I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to make a cover for this, because that's one of the most appealing things about hobonichis to me is they have all those cute covers. And so I don't need to buy one if I can just make a cute cover myself. And so I did. So how did I make this? I thankfully already own a lot of fabric, and I already own some batting. As you might have seen in my Christmas wrapping and crafting video, I had used batting to make some purses for my friends, and I figured, wow, this will be such a great opportunity for me to practice quilting, because I think it would be cool to one day actually make quilts and not just weird covers for my planner. I am kind of calling this the cursed quilt right now because it definitely has learning curve energy to it. I learned a lot working on this project, but I am really happy with it. So how I made this is I first traced out a rectangle to get a scale of how big the planner was and how much of this kind of quilted material I needed to make. I then went through all of my fabric scraps and I cut out about the same size square of a bunch of them. Now, this was a big learning moment for me in terms of how important cutting your squares accurately is, you really need them to be the same size. There's a reason for that. Some are squares, some are rectangles on the cover of this, because someone was a bit casual about how they cut the shapes out. But I cut out all the shapes, I organized them in a pattern that I thought looked pretty nice. And then I sewed them into first strips and then sewed those strips together to create kind of this quilted fabric. I then glued a backing fabric onto my batting and then glued this fabric on top of that and then started sewing it down, first in the rows, which were all straight, so that was really easy to sew. And then I had to figure out what I wanted to do for the columns, which were not all the same. Again, there are things I would do differently if I were to do this again. But basically, I made like a little quilt for my planner, which is just delightful. It's very fun. But in order for it to actually like stay on my planner, I needed to make some sleeves that would go over the planner's actual cover. And so to do that, I measured out about how much fabric I would need from some leftover fabric. I then ironed the edges and folded them over so I could have a nice clean edge. That would be the part that you're like slipping the cover of the notebook in. And once I did that, I also decided I wanted to add another pocket. I actually added a pocket to add in where I put my morning pages notebook. So that's what this thing is. And so it just slides right in there. It stays nice and secure so that I know exactly where it is, and it has a home because I have a habit of leaving it anywhere and everywhere around my apartment. And I do write my morning pages pretty much every day, 3 pages every morning. Highly recommend doing that journaling. So now it has a home in my planner. So I made and added in that pocket. And then I had to try and make sure that I was going to sew it all together and my like planner would actually properly fit inside. So what I did is I like laid the planner out on top of the quilted fabric and then laid these pocket pieces over it. I then cut the extra amounts of the pocket pieces so it would be able to line up with the edges of that like quilted piece. Then I took the planner out, pinned it all together into one piece, and then put my pattern piece back on top, and I outlined where I wanted to stitch in order for it to kind of fit perfectly nice and snug. Now I'm realizing I could have just used the planner and not the pattern piece. I kind of made things harder on myself by using a lighter weight material. But yeah, I sewed around the edges, it fit, and so the last thing I needed to do was to do the bias tape. Now, I'm not gonna let you see this close, because this is bad. And I actually didn't record any of me doing it because I was locked in, as they say. And by locked in, I mean learning a new skill. Why parts of this are so interesting is this is a fully just upcycled project for me. I didn't buy any materials other than the planner itself. And so because of that, it was a real using what I have situation. And I think the most annoying thing I did is I refused to fill bobbins with the right thread color. So I just use all sorts of thread colors on this, and sadly not in a way that I think looks too aesthetically pleasing. And again, the bias tape was done in a way that I was just really worried I would sew too deep and I would ruin kind of the fit of the pockets. I really would like to eventually remake this so that it just looks a little bit more clean. But for the time being, I think it's like pretty fun and cute. Fun and funky is like a great descriptor. It is very like Holly Hobby vibes as well. It's still like a loosey-goosey planner. I don't know. It's a little more homely. It's a little more cute. It's different. It's one of a kind. And I learned some new skills. I learned a lot about quilting and the importance of cutting shapes to be the right size. Also learned that I need more practice with bias tape. And I, as always, have learned the importance of patience and threading more bobbins, getting more thread on bobbins so you have more color options and not cutting that corner, which are great skills to put to practice and remember how important they are. So I'm really happy with this. Thank you all for coming on this adventure with me. In this planner, I really like using the midi liner highlighters. I find those come in some nice colors. And the pens I like to use are these like random Barbie pens I got at, I think it's like Tesso Life, which is a store in Federal Way, Washington. Random location alert. But they have these Barbie pens that have a nice fine point but nice dark ink. I love them. I use them for almost all of I have a lot of them now because they're my favorite pens. And it's so funny that they're Barbie pens. The only issue is that I can't highlight over them without it smudging the ink. So for my time blocking, what I do is I do the highlighting first and then I'll go and write in what it is that I'm doing at that time. Which is like a small complaint. And I mean, it's a problem of the pens, but I really like the pens. So I'm probably going to keep using them. So yeah, that's my planner. I'm not buying a Hobonichi. I am upcycling stuff I already own, and I'm using a planner that works better for what I want to use a planner for than a Hobonichi would. I hope that you all maybe feel inspired to do the same. Remember, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make something that you enjoy. I believe in you. All right, I hope you're all having a great rest of your day. Bye. So now it's like a pillow. Now I can finally sleep at work the way I deserve to.